Hello everyone, I am the Best Bean, and this is my tutorial on making Kerbal Space Program animations in Blender. In this tutorial, we're going to be going over Kerbal Rigs, importing ships and ship parts from the game into Blender, texturing, and the Kerbal Space Center. Before we begin, some important things you'll need. Firstly, you'll need to own a copy of KSP on your computer. That's how we access the ships and stuff. The second thing you'll need is Blender version 3.6 or earlier. The importer add-on doesn't work in newer versions, but if you prefer the newer versions, you only need to import the ships in 3.6. Once you've done that, you can save the file and work on it in your preferred version of Blender. Something I should tell you before we begin is that KSP is a copyrighted game, so anything inside of the game files is copyrighted material, and it's illegal for anyone to share those game files, so please be careful not to share any of those files or blend files that contain copyrighted material. You can use them for personal use as long as they don't leave your computer. Please don't break the law. Lastly, if you have any questions or troubles during this tutorial, feel free to leave a comment down below or join my Discord in the description, and I can help you the best I can. With that, let's get into it. Starting first, we have Kerbal Rigs. These are the rigs that I use personally for my animations. The originals were made for free by Peter Edwardson on the KSP forums. Since they were made and not from the game, they are free to be shared. These ones I've modified a bit to have stuff like eyelids and orange suit variants and stuff. They are good rigs, they have jetpacks, faces, bodies, the works. I'll have a link for you to download both versions for free in the description. Now we're going to move on to the more complicated part, which is importing ships and ship parts into Blender. This is where you need to make sure that you are working in version 3.6 or older of Blender. In order to import the MU and craft files that KSP uses, we need to download the IO Object MU add-on. The link is in the description. Just click Code and download zip. Once it's downloaded, we're going to want to navigate back to Blender. To install it, click Edit, Preferences, and Add-on. Then we want to click Install and select our IO zip folder. Once you have it installed, make sure the box is selected. Now, before we close Preferences, you're going to want to expand the add-on. Here we see Game Data Path. We're going to need to tie it to the KSP game folders, so you'll need to locate them on your computer. If you have KSP on Steam, as I do, you can follow along. We're going to want to click this folder, OS, Program Files x86, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Kerbal Space Program. Once we are here, you're going to want to click this little plus to bookmark this folder. You'll be coming back here a lot. Lastly, we want to select the Game Data folder and click Accept. You'll want to make sure the last folder in this game data path says game data. Trust me, it's important. Before we close out of preferences, you should click Install KSP Shader Presets and Install KSP Config Templates. Now you can save and close preferences. So with that headache out of the way, we can start importing ships. If you go to File and Import, you'll see that you have two new options, KSP Craft and KSP MU. MU allows you to import individual parts and props, while Craft imports entire ships that you have made and saved in the game. I'll go over both, but we're going to cover crafts first. To import crafts, you're going to want to go to File, Import, KSP Craft. Then we're going to click the Kerbal Space Program file we have bookmarked, and here you can do two things. Ships down at the bottom get you stock ships from the game, or if you go to Saves, you can select ships that you've made in your games. Today, I'm going to do the stock ships. You can pick whatever ship you'd like, but I'm going to go to VAB and pick the Kerbal X, just for a demonstration. I just want to pause real quick and restate that at this point, you don't need to be in 3.6 anymore. You can save the file and append the ship to a different version of Blender if you'd like. I like 3.6, so I'm going to keep working on it in this tutorial, and it is the version that I use for my animations, but you can use what you'd like. Now we have the ship, but it's all one piece and covered in useless empties. To fix that, with the ship selected, click Object and Apply. Then make instances real. Now everything is separated, but we still have the empties. You can delete them one by one, or you can do this trick. Click Select, Select by Type, Mesh. Now click Select again, then Invert. Click X to delete, and voila. Now if you click Material Mode, you'll see that the craft could import all these available color parts and engine covers. You'll have to go and delete the parts that you don't want. I'm going to clean up this craft real quick. Now we got the ship looking nice and clean, but the ship is in multiple pieces, and it's hard to animate it. There are multiple ways to do this, but what I do is I click Shift A and add in an empty cube. I move it to the center of mass for the craft and click A. Then I click Ctrl P and set parent to object. Now you can rotate and move the empty and the ship moves with it. Now before we get to the MU files, I want to talk about texturing. With some parts like these little boosters and cones, it might give you a craft texture that you don't want. I'll show you how to change those. We're going to want to click the shader tab up here and select parts we want to modify. Click the orange image texture labeled main text. If we click on the folder icon, we'll see the other textures for this specific part. Here we see the regular, the orange, and the white textures. For this cone, I'm going to select the white. If it has a bump, you'll want to change the normal of that to the same name. So in this case, normal white. And I'm going to do the same for the tanks. Now, one last thing, if you want to change only one of these parts and not all of them, let's say I wanted to keep one of these tanks as it was, you'd need to go over here to Game Data and click the number that is there. This will disconnect the part from the other ones. Then you'll want to click this Duplicate Texture button, and now you can change the texture without affecting the others. Now I'm going to pass off the mic for a few minutes to my good buddy Concodroid. He's a fellow KSP animator. You should check him out. His channel's in the description. He's really good. And he's going to go further into depth about texturing. Take it away, Concodroid.
Hey, Concodroid here. I should note before we begin that this is my first time really recording myself, so if I sound a little bit weird, that's why. But anyway, I'll quickly go over how these materials work. But before we begin, here's a quick tip. To move between 3.6 and later versions, you can just copy the plane over, and you'll retain all the new defaults in, say, 5.0. Now that we're in the shader editor, you'll notice that some parts have a weird dark look. To fix this, change the texture's alpha channel mode from straight to channel packed. These green node groups are global, so if you change something in one material, you change it in every material. This is convenient for if you're in a rush, but if you want to modify materials at all, it's good practice to create your own custom materials. To do this, delete all these green node groups. If you've got a node named DXT normal in a material though, leave it alone. We need it for bump maps. From there, connect things to a principled BSDF node in the usual manner. That means color to base color and BSDF to surface. Don't connect alpha to alpha. Notice that glitch that we saw before? Change alpha once again from straight to channel packed. If you've got bump maps, make sure their color space is set to non-color data, not sRGB or anything else. Then connect DXT normal's color output to a normal map's color input. Connect that to principled BSDF. KSP includes specular information in the alpha channel, which is part of the reason for that dark glitch earlier. We'll use that information for a roughness map. Take the alpha node from your image texture and plug it into a color ramp, then flip the handle colors to invert the information. We could use an invert node, but we will likely need to play with the handles to get a roughness map that we'd like. And we're done! I'll have a more in-depth tutorial in a few days on my channel, which is linked below, so if you want to see that, please subscribe. Until then, I'll pass it back along to Bean. Fly safe.
Now let's finally move on to MU files. If you want to import things like ship interiors or individual parts, here's how. Click File, Import, KSP MU. Go to the Kerbal Space Program bookmark if not already there, and click Game Data and Squad. Now that we're here, some important things to know is that parts contain all of the individual ship parts, props contains the buttons and switches and stuff inside the pods, spaces contains the interior for the pods, and lastly, one useful thing to know is the flag folder contains all of the PNGs for the flags in the games. As a demonstration, I'll import a part. I'm going to select Parts. Here we see all of the categories. I'm going to select Command and the OG pod, the MK1. And here it is. Feel free to delete the empties in the collision mesh. And there we have it. So, congratulations! That's all you need to know about making Kerbal Space Program animations in Blender. One last thing I wanted to talk about was the buildings from the game. As far as I know, there's no way to import the buildings from the game itself. You can use a Ripper program, but make sure to use it responsibly. If you want something for free, I modeled my own KSC for my Duna animation, and since it's my work, it's totally free to be shared and used. It's not the best, I didn't do the backs, but it should be good to get you guys started. And that's all I have to share. Thank you all for watching. If you make a KSP animation with this, please reach out because I'd love to watch it. This world needs more KSP animations. Again, if you need any help, or just want to come say hi or join the community, you can join my Discord in the description. We would love to have you. And again, special thanks to Concodroid for his help in making this happen. I hope to see you all again, and have a good one. See ya!